Horror is a great playground for filmmakers to materialize their crazy and bizarre ideas, like genitalia with teeth, a car capable of lovemaking, or a man turned into a seal. These are just a few of the terrifying and puzzling images that appear on the screen. Amidst many unique stories like these, there are those who stand out with less than $1 million in filmmaking budget, such as Quentin Dupui, a French director. He proves his ability through the journey of attire that can take lives, more bizarrely not through physical impact on the victims but by exploding them with psychic powers. But that's not all. Through this character, the French director also wants to convey messages about life, the film industry in general, and the relationship between the audience and filmmakers in particular. It may sound unrelated, right? But if you're curious, sit down and join me in delving into this 102-minute film. To facilitate analysis, the entire latter part of the video will reveal the content of the wrapper, so it's best to enjoy this cinematic experience once and then come back to discuss it with us. But if you've already seen the movie or don't mind spoilers, let's move on. Strange Assassin. Although it lasts less than 90 minutes, Rubber is quite challenging due to its abstraction and unrelated storylines. So instead of recounting what happened, let me explain each detail. First, the main character of the film, a tire named Robert. In the first 10 minutes, it appears as an ordinary item, discarded in a desolate desert. Then Robert slowly lifts himself up and moves hesitantly like a toddler. It encounters initial obstacles like a water bottle or a scorpion, hesitating a bit but still overcoming them. When faced with indestructible objects, Robert demonstrates its abilities, its body vibrating vigorously and emitting invisible shockwaves. The destructive power of this move gradually increases over time. Initially, it only shatters a couple of empty wine bottles, then crushes a metal can, gradually mastering its power to attack the creatures around, rabbits, birds, and even human heads, all bursting before the psychic power of the tire. Robert's scope of action becomes bolder, swiftly eliminating anyone in its sight, resembling the development trajectory of other serial killers. Before committing the crime, there's hesitation and reluctance, but once the deed is done, the madness escalates uncontrollably, reaching a point of no return. However, Robert is not just a bloodthirsty killer. Strangely, it also knows affection. Evidence of this is the tire's affection for a French girl. It only refrains from killing when she's around, even following her to a motel, watching her undress from a distance. All of this creates a typical assassin archetype, frequently seen in popular culture. But what makes Robert unique is the ambiguity surrounding its abilities and origins. How does a lonely tire possess such terrifying psychic powers? What goes on in Robert's mind that drives it to harm those around it? Why does a ruthless killer develop feelings for a girl at first sight? The film provides no answers, but it aligns with the director's perspective from the start. Of course, the idea of a sentient tire committing murder is purely fictional, but in reality, there are countless occurrences that defy explanation. People despise each other upon first glance, loans lead to violence, or ordinary days suddenly turn into chaos without a discernible reason. The only option is to find ways to resolve these issues, akin to how the police subdued Robert, rendering it harmless rubber. While the bloody journey of Robert may seem grim and serious, it's not the focal point of the film. It's merely a tool for the director to express his views on the film industry. A dark perspective. From the very first frames, the film signals to the audience that it won't tell a conventional story. We witness a police car heading towards a man holding many binoculars. In a miraculous manner, there are numerous chairs along the road, and in a bizarre turn of events, the car crashes into all of them. Then, a police officer emerges from the trunk and speaks about the absurdity of cinema and life itself, as mentioned earlier. The scene is very straightforward, with the background blurred as if the police officer is talking directly to us, but in reality, he's addressing a crowd. They are also getting ready to watch a movie just like regular audience members, albeit the strange movie they're watching is Rubber. In essence, they're not much different from us, except we watch movies on screens, while they enjoy them through binoculars. Through this bizarre setup, the director begins to express his viewpoint on the audience. Some watch movies casually, stepping into theaters without knowing the basic information. Some can't keep their mouths shut, affecting others' viewing experience. And of course, there are those who are completely focused on the movie from start to finish. However, all these individuals are being controlled by a man dressed as an usher. He hands out binoculars and decides the movie watching time for the crowd, providing them with snacks while everyone struggles, and not forgetting to pocket some change for himself. It's evident that this character represents the movie theaters in the director's eyes. Later, the crowd is served Thanksgiving turkey by this man, and they all suffer severe food poisoning, with most of them ascending to heaven. This detail continues the director's satire on the film industry, as the food sold in theaters poses a risk to consumers' health. Eventually, the man dies due to the same food he provided, truly reflecting the dark and extreme perspective hidden behind the details and methods of making B-movies. Despite the harsh and heavy views on the seventh art, the director still conveys some thought-provoking messages, as shown almost entirely in the scene where the police officer is shot but shows no reaction. For me, this scene has two meanings. Firstly, we need to consider the dialogue of the intellectual. At this point, all the characters in the scene acknowledge that everything is fake, and they are no longer the audience. After all have been poisoned by the turkey, they realize there are still living people watching them. Continuing to act as if they are on a real movie set, this detail clarifies a fact that no matter how frustrated filmmakers may be with the industry's issues, as long as there is someone truly watching and paying attention, they will continue to work on their craft. And the second meaning is the irreplaceable aspect of real life. On screen, actors can portray very realistically, making their characters feel truly alive. But once the cameras stop rolling, everything returns to ordinary life, continuing their own lives. In conclusion, despite how enticing and inviting the fictional world may be, reality remains the only place to return to. A peculiar film, a director with a unique sense of humor and imagination, all contribute to an unforgettable cinematic experience. It may not be considered high quality, but it's certainly unlike anything else. So, if you want to break away from conventional creative norms and challenge yourself a bit, this film will be an unforgettable experience.